With the announcement of the new massive update Tides of Terraria coming to Palworld this summer, many players like myself can't wait to see all the brand new content that's going to be added to the game. And while many players will want to check out all the new things that'll be available in this update right away, you'll want to make sure that you're fully prepared with everything you can need to explore these new islands. So today I'm going to help you get prepared for what lies in store for all of us in Tides of Terraria. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Speaker, and today we're going to be going over 5 ways to get yourself prepared for the Palworld Tides of Terraria update. Now before we get into the video, I want to quickly talk to you all about today's sponsor, Berrybyte. Berrybyte is a server hosting service that allows you to create and run dedicated servers on a wide variety of games, including Palworld. I've heard you all enjoy my upgrade guides due to them being simple and straight to the point, and thankfully setting up a server with Berrybyte is as well. All you have to do is decide on how many players you want on the server, whether you're on Xbox or Steam, and where you want the server to be located. Luckily, they have servers across the globe, so no matter where you are, Berrybyte has you covered. And with their servers using the latest Ryzen-based hardware, you'll never have to worry about a laggy experience while hosting your server. And just like that, you can have a private dedicated server for you and your friends to play on. They even have configurable backups for your world, so you don't ever have to worry about losing your progress. Plus, with their affordable prices for Palworld servers starting at just $7 a month, there's no better place to get an awesome dedicated server. On top of their great prices, if you use my promo code SPEAKER20, then you can save yourself an extra 20% off your next server. Once again, that promo code is SPEAKER20 to save yourself an extra 20% off your next server. So if you're interested in hosting a dedicated server or just want to support the channel in general, you can check out Berrybyte by clicking the links in the description below. Thank you very much, Berrybyte, for sponsoring the channel, and without further ado, let's get back into the video. Finally, if you enjoy any of the music you hear during this video or just want to support the channel in general, it's all part of my DMCA free music label, Speakerhead Studios, which you can check out in the description as well. But with all that out of the way, let's get back to the video. Now, when it comes to preparing for any potential future updates to Palworld, there are plenty of ways one could try to get ready for all the new content that gets added. However, I've narrowed down the top 5 ways that I'm personally prepping for this new update, and the first way that I'm preparing is by putting together some exploration teams to check out these new islands. While you could technically use any team of pals to help you explore, heck, I'm even debating bringing my fully upgraded land ball with me for a bit. I found having a diverse team of pals with unique abilities can really help cut down the amount of time you need to spend discovering the new islands and biomes. For example, whenever I'm exploring an area I don't know anything about, I always like to have one flying mount, one ground mount, and at least one combat-oriented pal. And then the last 2 pals I have in my party will usually be filled with pals I'd either want or need for specific reasons. For example, when it comes to exploring the new islands, I most likely will have an extra flying mount just in case my main flying mount dies while exploring. Another example would be if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of fighting, then I'd probably have a Fellbat, War Sect, or some Gobfins filling in those last slots. And when it comes to exploring the new islands in Tides of Terraria, these are some of the pals that I'm personally planning on using. However, the main thing is to just make sure you have a team of pals that are ready to explore the new islands. I'd also recommend having at least a few backup pals ready just in case any of your main team faints while exploring. But regardless of what pals you plan on using to explore, having a diverse team of upgraded pals to help you conquer these unexplored islands will make the experience a lot more enjoyable. So moving on to the second way you can prepare for Tides of Terraria, and that's by making high quality armor, weapons, and health potions. While this seems pretty obvious and straightforward, there are a couple ways to make this process of getting good schematics go a bit faster. For starters, you can keep doing dungeons to stock up on schematics, and by using Prickster's partner skill to help you locate the end of each dungeon, you can run through these fairly easily. On a similar wavelength, you can also run through all the oil rigs since they have plenty of regular chests along with a large chest at the very end. Finally, I'll mention that these days I mainly just grab the chests in the cave around Faybreak Island while getting chromites since they're really easy to get, but any of these methods are great ways of getting schematics fairly easily. Now for those who want legendary quality schematics, which I'm sure many people do, the only way in the past to get these schematics is by searching chests or fighting specific bosses and hoping you get a lucky drop. However, with the addition of the drafting table, getting high quality schematics became extremely easy. With a drafting table, you can combine your lower quality schematics into higher quality ones. So for example, if you had 5 uncommon metal helmet schematics, then you can make yourself a rare metal helmet schematic through the drafting table. So as long as you keep stocking up on lower quality schematics, you can eventually get legendary schematics easily. But essentially you want to make sure you got the best quality equipment available to you once the update drops so you don't get one-tapped in any future fights. Now the last thing I want to touch on before we move on to the next way to prepare, and that's by making sure you have plenty of health potions ready to go. While they aren't 100% necessary, they can definitely help keep you alive during some difficult fights you may come across, so it's always nice to have some handy. But moving on to the next way to prepare yourself for this future update, and that's by hitting that subscribe button and liking the video. I plan on going over all the new content in Pals once Tides of Terraria releases, plus it helps support the channel, so if you want to be updated on future Palworld content, then make sure to subscribe. But with that shameless plug out of the way, the next way to prepare yourself is by stocking up on both regular and ancient tech points. While you will gain some tech points by leveling up, any Palworld player knows that's never enough to unlock everything in the tech tree, so you'll want to make sure that you'll have plenty of the regular and ancient tech points for whatever items you'll need to unlock during this update. Now, the best way I've found to farm regular tech points is by breeding and butchering any of the pals on screen right now. While only alpha versions drop technology books, this is by far the fastest way of gaining these types of points. Plus, if you build my mega breeding base, then you can make this process go even faster. But when it comes to ancient tech points, the best way to farm these is by getting them out of chests at the end of dungeons. You can also search the chests in the caves on Faberake Island, just like I mentioned before, since they also have a chance of giving you ancient tech books. But assuming you're already doing dungeons or searching caves to get better schematics, then there isn't any extra work you need to do for these. Just keep farming dungeons and you'll be a-okay. So moving on to the fourth way you can prepare for Tides of Terraria, and that's by stocking up on pal fruits, skill fruits, and pal souls. Considering that we'll be getting at least 6 new pals in this update just from the teaser pictures alone, along with any other pals that weren't shown yet, it's definitely a good idea to stock up on many of these items so that way you can upgrade these new pals right away. And since I always like to give you all the best way to farm these items in all my upgrade guides, I'm just gonna play those clips here because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? With a total of 30 small pal souls, 18 medium pal souls, 18 large pal souls, and 90 giant pal souls, you can give any pal a 60% boost in attack, defense, and health. And to help you get the first 3 types of pal souls, here's a list of every pal in the game that drops these types of souls. And to help you get giant pal souls, here's a map of every predator pal in the game that drops these types of souls. Finally, if you want to farm all 4 types of pal souls, you can do the pal genetic research mission in the pal expedition station to farm all these. While using ability glasses unlocked at level 34, you can see the hidden potential stats of any pal. By feeding your pal 1 of 3 types of pal fruits, you can upgrade these stats with each fruit increasing 1 stat by 10. And to get these pal fruits, you can do that in a few different ways. The first way to get them is by defeating either the Belnor Libro, Blazemut Ryu, or Xenolord raid bosses. The next way to get pal fruits is by buying them from a metal merchant located at any destroyed church on the map using dog coins. And the last way you can get them is by turning in bounty tokens to a vigilante bounty officer found at any village on the map. For bounty tokens, you can get these by finding and defeating wanted NPCs across the map. I've also found the best way to farm these tokens by catching the wanted NPCs in high tier spheres and butchering them to gain double the amount of tokens. But going back to metal merchants and dog coins, a tip I always like to give is to use a Catrus while hunting Mimogs to get more dog coins. While fighting together, their partner skill makes neutral pals drop more items when defeated, which works on Mimogs and dog coins. Also remember to upgrade your Catrus and a pal condenser to further increase the amount of dog coins Mimogs drop. Now when it comes to farming skill fruits, you can do this in a couple of different ways. The first way is by repeatedly going around to every skill fruit tree in the game and collecting them once they grow, or you can grow them from a skill fruit orchard which you unlock at level 48. Personally, I use the skill fruit orchard method. In fact, I just built a mega base for that exact reason, but either way will get you plenty of skill fruits. Honestly, the best way I can put it is if you need new skill fruits that you don't have, then go collect them from wild trees. But if you need more of some that you already have, then I'd go with the skill fruit orchard method. So now moving on to the very last way you can prepare for this new update we'll be getting, and that's by getting ready for any new raid boss fights. I know that Pocket Pair hasn't officially announced that any new raid boss fights will be added during this update. However, there is some pretty solid reasoning behind why we would get at least one new raid boss during the Tides of Terraria update. For starters, in every other massive update we've gotten for Palworld, there's always been at least one new raid boss added during the update, so it wouldn't surprise me if we got one during this update as well. On top of that, from my comment section in my video discussing the teaser images for this update, I learned that the giant eye creature in the main promo pic is called the Eye of Cthulhu, and apparently this is the first boss that players come across in Terraria, so there's a chance this could be the raid boss we'll be getting in Palworld as well. But due to these reasons, you'll want to make sure that you're prepared for any raid bosses that get added during this update. Now, assuming the Eye of Cthulhu is going to be the raid boss we'll be getting during this update, I'm personally guessing it's going to have a dark typing since I really don't see any other element types that will work with this creature. So if I were to recommend any type of pals to make an army of to beat this future boss, then I would say get an army of dragon type pals ready to go. Jet Dragon, Xenolord, or Xenoguard would be my main recommendations. I'm personally prepping an army of Xenolords, but honestly any dragon type pal should work totally fine. And like I said, this is just a guess on the boss typing, so I could definitely be wrong about this. But considering Pocket Pair seems to have a love for dark type pals, it would make sense that the boss would also be dark type. But regardless of how you prepare, I would definitely be ready for some sort of raid boss, because even if we don't get one during this update, which I highly doubt, we'll definitely be getting even harder raid bosses down the line. And with that last way to prepare all wrapped up, these are the main ways that I'd personally recommend preparing for Tides of Terraria. However, I do have one more extra tip for you all. Now this may sound like a bit of a cop-out, but the last tip I could give you all to prepare yourselves for Tides of Terraria is by stocking up on every resource in the game. I know some of you are looking at your screens right now like, no duh, Mr. Speakerhead on the internet. But in all reality, as basic of a tip as this is, it honestly can go a long way. While we unfortunately can't stock up on any new resources that will be added during this update, having a good supply of every resource currently in the game can help you experience the new content much faster. For example, while we don't know what types of new ingots will be added during this update, having everything you need to craft ingots such as ores, palladium fragments, coal, ore, and so on can potentially make crafting these new said ingots happen much faster in your world. Another great example would be if they decide to add more structures like the Pal Labor Research Laboratory, or even just add more upgrades to that structure. Even if you wouldn't be able to upgrade everything right away, having a bunch of crafting materials all ready to go can make these future upgrades go much more smoothly. But I guess long story short, no matter how you decide to prepare yourself for this new awesome update we'll be getting, the main thing you should be prepared for is that amazing feeling of finally getting to experience Tides of Terraria once it finally comes out. But that's going to be all the advice I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know in the comments if you found these tips helpful, and also let me know how you're prepping for Tides of Terraria. Finally, once again, a big thanks to Berrybyte for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to check them out in the description below. But that's all I have to say for now, so thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch all y'all in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.